I'm here at the Bristol Harbourside to meet with Tim Farron, the leader of the Liberal Democrats. How are you?
I'm very well, all the more excited by today's announcement.
So what was your first thought when Theresa May announced the snap election?
I'd have to cancel my half-term break with the kids, and after that I thought, what a wonderful opportunity for the British people to choose a different direction than the one that the government has currently chosen.
Were you expecting one, or was it completely out of the blue?
If I'm honest with you, whilst we've been calling for an early election, we thought Theresa May had given up on it. I think she couldn't resist the temptation to fight a general election against Jeremy Corbyn as Labour leader, and she thought this was a given. It'll be a coronation for her. She can then impose the most extreme version of Brexit and claim she's got a mandate, and that's very, very wrong. And so my approach to this is, yes, I'm surprised by the announcement, but not absolutely staggered. I thought there might be an early election, even if it wasn't just right now. But this is a moment for the British people to choose a different path than the one Theresa May is now offering, and that's an exciting opportunity I want to hope we're going to take.
Do you think this is prime time for the Liberal Democrats to come back fighting?
Well, let's be honest, you've got a Labour Party which is not only not an alternative government, they're not even a decent opposition, and either this is going to be a Tory coronation or we're going to have something thoroughly unexpected but utterly necessary, and that is the Liberal Democrats doing well in this election. You know, in 10, 20, 30 years' time, we're going to have to look our kids in the eye during and to answer for what happened during this, the process of the extreme Brexit that Theresa May has taken us through. And you want to be able to look them in the eye and say, I did everything I could to prevent that calamity. Well, I'm determined this is the opportunity to do just that. Labour sat on the fence, the Tories need a decent opposition. Here we are.
Why should people vote for the Liberal Democrats under the UK's two-party system, which means it's dominated by Labour and the Conservatives? Well,
first of all, I think Brexit's been a complete reset button for British politics. I think anybody who assumes one seat's safe for one party or safe for another just isn't. They've missed what's happened in the last 9 or 10 months if they believe that. So what this is an opportunity for the Liberal Democrats to take that message for not just people who voted Remain, but those people who voted Leave and who think that Theresa May's not got the right to impose upon them the hardest form of Brexit that was never on the ballot paper.
Are you happy going against the democratic mandate of the people by going for Brexit?
I'm happy standing in an election and standing on my principles. I mean, the idea that elections happen once, then you've got to give up and accept the outcome for eternity, that's a nonsense. You accept the result with good grace, but you keep fighting, you keep campaigning if you've got any principles.
If you did go into government and it had to be a coalition government, do you know who you'd want to go into?
Well, let's be honest, look at the situation we're at now. We are facing a Conservative coronation or we're facing a Liberal Democrat revival. And they're the only two options on the table now. We know Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party, are not only not a plausible alternative government, they're not even that. They're not even a proper functioning opposition. So there will be a coronation unless the Liberal Democrats do well in places like the west of England, but around the country as well. So we are all that stands between Theresa May and indeed this country and the hardest of all Brexits and maybe a generation of Tory rule. That's not acceptable. And if you agree with me that it's not acceptable, the Liberal Democrats are your choice.
Is this election, in essence, the Brexit election?
The electorate will decide that. I mean, Theresa May can say it's about Brexit, Jeremy Corbyn say it's not about Brexit. Let's remember, Zach Goldsmith lost his seat back in December to the Liberal Democrats because he assumed an election was about one thing. The electorate said, no, it's not, mate, it's about this. So the people who will decide what this election is about are the British people.
And finally, we've got the upcoming West of England Metro Mayor elections. Why should people be voting for your candidate in the West, Stephen Williams?
Stephen Williams has been a fantastic minister, MP for this part of Bristol, a great man, somebody who will be respected and indeed feared in government corridors and fighting on behalf of the West of England. But he's also the one person I think who can beat the Conservatives here. I think there's a choice in this election on the 4th of May. People who are Labour or Green inclined, they can vote Labour and Green, in which case I totally respect that, but they'll probably end up with a Conservative mayor as a result, or they can choose to powerfully use their votes to elect put their votes behind Stephen Williams, which gives the real chance of a progressive mayor for the West of England and indeed somebody who's not a Tory.
And of course the election is under the supplementary voting system. Would you promote the people of the West giving Stephen their second preference vote?
Well, I mean, if you give Stephen the first preference, that's all the better, but second preferences will make a big difference as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers.